In this world, those gifted with the strength to battle monsters are called raiders. They risk their lives hunting dangerous creatures, collecting rare treasures, and protecting humanity in the process. It's a perilous profession, yet they're hailed as heroes, admired by the masses and envied by many. After all, the thought of slaying beasts for glory and riches stirs excitement in everyone. Those who fail to secure such a career can't help but feel a sting of jealousy toward those who do. Our tale begins in a busy public restaurant where the chatter of customers fills the air until a sharp voice cuts through the noise. The one causing the scene? None other than our protagonist, Jae-hyun, who's fuming after discovering he's only been hired as a meat shield for a dungeon raid. A bespectacled man seated across from him, young Wooman, calmly tells him to lower his voice. After all, Jae-hyun was the one looking for quick cash, and this is the only offer available at the moment. Whether he likes it or not, the job's on the table, and options are scarce. Jae-hyun then reveals that Wooman works for a raider placement agency, connecting unaffiliated raiders like him with temporary gigs. When Wooman contacted him, Jae-hyun thought he'd finally scored a great opportunity. Instead, he's been tossed into the role of disposable frontliner in a dungeon crawling with undead, the kind of position where your job is to take hits so others don't. Frustrated, Jae-hyun wonders aloud why this is the only work he's been offered, especially when even lower-ranked raiders seem to be landing high-paying contracts. Wooman points out the obvious. Jae-hyun's martial arts class, though exceptional in skill, rarely gets job requests anymore. That only riles Jae-hyun further. So, I'm being looked down on just because I'm a martial arts raider. Wooman hesitantly admits that in truth, magic users dominate the industry. They complete jobs faster, take fewer injuries, and unsurprisingly attract the bulk of the contracts. Martial arts raiders, by contrast, spend more time on missions and end up in hospitals more often. Employers notice. The hard reality is simple. Mages fight from a safe distance, while martial artists charge into danger head-on. Naturally, mages have the advantage and the demand. Wooman explains that about a decade ago, the situation was different. Martial raiders were highly sought after. He regrets not choosing the mage path himself when he had the chance. For Jae-hyun, it all began 11 years earlier in his third year of high school. He had aced the Awakened Aptitude evaluation and earned a place at one of the prestigious Milla's academies renowned for training future raiders. His mage aptitude score was staggering, 97%, almost flawless, far surpassing even star students like Lady Siwena, who managed 92%. In comparison, his martial arts aptitude sat at a mere 34%. And yet, he made what he now considers the dumbest decision of his life. He chose the martial path. Not because of pride, honor, or some noble cause. He simply didn't want to be a mage. Back then, mages had a poor reputation, dismissed as weak buffers who couldn't handle even low-ranked monsters without martial raiders protecting them. But times have changed. Martial classes are fading into obscurity while mages have risen to the top. If he had taken the mage route back then, Jae-hyun's life would likely be far more comfortable now. Unfortunately, switching classes is no longer an option. Raiders reach their growth limit at 20, and Jae-hyun has already passed that mark. Wooman reminds him that jobs like this don't come around often anymore, and being picky isn't an option. He even admits he was going to offer the position to someone else, but decided to give it to Jae-hyun out of consideration. That stings. Once, his talents were the envy of every would-be mage, but now, because of one reckless choice, he's a lowly D-rank martial raider scrambling for scraps. With no better options, Jae-hyun reluctantly accepts the job. Wooman brightens at the decision, assuring him it's the right move. As Jae-hyun turns to leave, Wooman tells him to be at a location sent to his phone at 8 a.m. the next day. When Jae-hyun asks why Wooman will be there instead of handling agency work, Wooman casually says he has other business in the area. The next morning, Jae-hyun arrives at a dungeon gate where raiders are gathering. Strangely, he's standing there alone. Checking the time, he realizes Wooman still hasn't shown, despite saying he'd be there. Jae-hyun lets out a long sigh, wondering if maybe Wooman should focus on helping more capable raiders instead. Considering Jae-hyun himself is only a D-rank martial raider while young Wooman stands tall as an A-rank mage, he can't help but wonder why someone like Wooman wastes time at a raider agency. With his skills, Wooman could walk into almost any guild in the country and be welcomed with open arms. If Jae-hyun were in that position, he'd have left for greener pastures long ago. That thought leads to another, a sharp, unkind voice in his head calling him a useless bastard. It doesn't sound like anyone nearby. It's almost as if it came from somewhere deep within himself. Whatever it is, we don't yet know. Before he can dwell on it, someone calls out his name. Turning, Jae-hyun spots Myung-ho, his friend, fully suited in heavy armor. They greet each other warmly, exchanging a few light-hearted jabs. Myung-ho, brimming with pride in his profession, declares that martial raiders are far cooler than those robe-wearing hobos who just stand in the back tossing fireballs. Jae-hyun, however, doesn't share the sentiment. To him, there's nothing glamorous about scraping by, barely able to afford decent meals. Still, Myung-ho encourages him to give it his all, no matter the circumstances. He suggests grabbing a drink after the raid, to which Jae-hyun agrees, but quickly warns that he's broke and can't cover the bill. Myung-ho shoots back that he paid last time, so it's not his turn. Jae-hyun freezes for a moment, embarrassed, but Myung-ho sighs at his friend's sheepish expression and agrees to pick up the tab again. Jae-hyun laughs and apologizes, though a sly thought crosses his mind. Maybe Myung-ho is just too easy to rope into paying. Their banter is cut short when a man strides in, ordering everyone to assemble at the dungeon entrance. They'll be heading in 30 minutes. The sudden bark of authority puts people on edge, including Jae-hyun. Myung-ho heads off to regroup with his party, leaving Jae-hyun to wait alone, phone in hand. While waiting, we get a glimpse into dungeon raiding rules, at least the first one. Raiders have to be wary when they stumble upon hidden treasure inside. The excitement of finding loot often clouds judgment, and that's when the dungeon itself may turn against them. Such greed-driven blunders almost always end in disaster. As for the second rule, we'll have to wait, because the same man interrupts again, telling Jae-hyun to stop staring at his phone. It's time to move out. He even cracks a crude joke, saying Jae-hyun must be drooling over a girlfriend's picture before heading in. Jae-hyun brushes it off, though in truth, the photo on his screen isn't of a girlfriend, it's of his mother. With a quiet word to her, he tucks his phone away and steps into the dungeon. Inside, the formation is clear. Mages hang back, wands ready, while martial raiders take the front. Almost immediately, grotesque ghouls shuffle into view. An arrogant mage starts shouting at the frontliners to hold formation, even if it costs them their lives. This is exactly the kind of treatment Jae-hyun despises, being ordered around by pompous spellcasters who think their magic puts them above everyone else. Still, he swallows his frustration and follows instructions. The mages begin their incantations, channeling magic into scorching fireballs that blast the ghouls into charred heaps. Watching them work, Jae-hyun wonders if they're from the Meteor Guild. That group was just an upstart not long ago, but judging by this firepower, things have clearly changed. Thanks to their support, Jae-hyun feels reasonably certain he won't die today. Myung-ho pauses for a drink, remarking that all that's left is to take down the dungeon boss. The older raider grins, joking about his age and slower reflexes, then asks if Jae-hyun has scored any loot yet. With A-rank dungeons, the drops are usually worth something. Curious, Jae-hyun opens his system window, but something's wrong.